Hello and welcome to the All Things Brentford podcast. This is the Arsenal away match reaction, and as at the time of filming, the game literally has just finished about 5 minutes ago. So yeah, you're going to get our raw opinion on what has just occurred at the Emirates Stadium. Quite a few things to talk about today. Obviously, I'm joined by Cameron. Cameron, how you doing, mate?
Deflated, mate. Can't lie. Yeah, I reckon I would have felt a bit better if it was like a 5 or 6-0 thumping, to be fair. But yeah, had to be Havertz again, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it wasn't. If you don't know the score's at the bottom of the screen. We did lose 2-1. Arsenal went 1-0 up quite early on through Declan Rice. Brentford equalised due to a Ramsdale howler, which we'll get onto later. And then in the 86th minute, Kai Havertz, like he did at the GTEC, scores late on to win Arsenal the game. All right, where do you want to? Should we start with the lineups? It was kind of what we expected. Obviously, we didn't know that Reguilon was going to have a minor hamstring injury, so that was always good to hear. Another injury. What did you think about the lineups when you saw it?
Pretty spot on for my one, wasn't it? Just except for the Reguilon situation. Look, again, I was happy with it. Meant that Jensen could come off the bench, Mipai could come off the bench if we needed to change some things, and it did sort of pay off. Obviously, Jensen coming on and then we score. But yeah, I wasn't too disheartened with the formation. It was sort of copy and paste what we did against Man City. It was more sort of defensive. I know you. I'm gonna guess you hated seeing that lineup, especially in the midfield. But I thought it worked. What about you? Did you think it was the right choice looking back, or do you think we should have gone for it a bit more in the first half?
Nah, listen. When the lineups came out, I was a bit disappointed. I never expected us to play a back four at all. I knew it was going to be a five. Obviously, my opinions on Zanka, I think I've said it too many times on this podcast, so I don't think I need to say what I think about him. But I had nothing against it. And in hindsight, we did all right. We held our own for most of the game. So, but let's talk about the start of the game. Obviously, the game kicks off. Arsenal on the front foot. Like we said, this game's pretty much a free hit for us. Onyeka getting booked really early on for a stupid little cynical foul. Do you think that's a problem for Brentford? Obviously, we highlighted that we'd have to switch on massively if we were going to get anything out of this game. And then Onyeka goes and gets booked out after 3 minutes. Do you think that's the story of Brentford season? Earlier, that little lapse of judgment. Obviously, they could have had a penalty before the goal actually went in. But is that a recurring problem for Brentford that we don't seem to kick in until like the 15th, 20th minute?
Yeah, I think we have highlighted that before in the pod. Like, we just don't start well at all. Granted, this game, I think that and Man City, we can sort of allow them to not start the game well. I would be shocked and surprised if we did start on the front foot against Arsenal, especially away at the Emirates. But again, like, that was the game plan. We came with one, sitting deep, try and attack. Once we lose the ball, Tony being our outlet. I thought it wasn't a bad game plan. If Havertz didn't score, I would have said it worked to a treat. So I can't be too judgmental on it. But yeah, I just think, to be fair, Frank had it spot on. A couple of things just didn't go away today. But yeah, again, I'll throw it back to you. Do you think we should have tried? Obviously, Wissa got a goal towards the end of the first half. But do you think we should have tried to get a foothold, especially in the first half, just to break up the play for sort of like 5-10 minutes?
I highlighted in the preview that the way that we win this game is by rattling them, and I felt like we did that at the end of the second half. We started to rattle them a lot, and they were getting frustrated. And obviously, throw-ins we were taking ages, free kicks we were taking a while. But I just feel like it's a story of our season, and obviously we won't talk about the upcoming games, but our next game is Burnley away, and it's these sort of games that we can take a lot of positives out of this game, but if we don't start a game, we saw it against West Ham, right? If we don't start a game on the front foot, then we're going to get piled in, and they are teams like Arsenal who have a front. We were lucky Martinelli wasn't involved today, because I think honestly it could have been a really long day. But yeah, I think it's a problem for us at the moment. We need to like sort of latch onto that. And yeah, listen, I'm not gonna fucking start throwing shade around because we lost to one at the Emirates to an Arsenal side who are in the title race. But it's just slightly disappointing, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Let's talk about the first goal. Obviously, shouts for a penalty just before on a Norgard sort of shoulder into Odegaard, given waved away. Crossing from the right. Who else but Declan Rice raises highest? The first question I want to ask you was it a good header or was it poor from Flecken?
Uh, I think one, it was a good header. It had to be to sort of beat Fleck, and I think his position should have been more to the right. Can you blame him? Not really. I don't know. I think it was one of them. I didn't look at it and think it was a howler, and I didn't look at it and think what an amazing finish. I just thought it was sort of your sort of bog standard goal. So disappointed when it went in, but weird. I wasn't deflated with that goal. I could see it coming. I'm mentally prepared for us to concede. It was just disappointing how we conceded so easily just from one sort of little chipped in ball. But do you think the defence could have potentially snuffed that out? Yana potentially closing down Ben White a bit more. Do you think Reslev should have leaned in a bit more for the header? Do you think that's more?
I don't know. It's a bit of a sticky one, really, because I'm sure it was evident in the game plan that the plan was to double up on Saka, because obviously it was Lewis Potter against Saka. So every time that Saka had the ball, Lewis Potter would go over and Janelt would go over to try and nullify that. But then I just don't understand how the ball can be put into the box. Yeah, and we are playing 5 defenders. So we technically have 4 defenders in the box. Yeah, and Declan Rice wins a free header. And I think it was more of a, obviously I'd have to watch back the goals, but I think it was more of Zanka's step forward, lost his man, and then Rodoslev's there in two minds, looking behind him, thinking they've got Trossard behind me and Rice. That's why you see him jump late. So yeah, I think it was kind of disappointing. I was speaking to a few of my pals as well, and they were like, yeah, it's just poor defending. But then again, you've got to look at it and you've got to say Declan Rice, right place, right time. And it was a goal and we can't say it was undeserved.
Yeah.
But let me throw this to you, right? Do you think that we reacted well? Obviously, they didn't then score a goal, evidently, till the 86th minute, but they had an influx of chances. Do you think we reacted well to that? Do you think we stood our own after we conceded? And do you think we really posed them a threat in that first half?
To answer your first question, I thought normally what we do, we take about 5-10 minutes just to recover from a goal. So I thought it was good that we sat in, our heads didn't go, and we just carried on with the same game plan, which is really, really positive to see. To answer your second question, I don't think we had a foothold or a spell in the game for 90 minutes. Yeah, it was such a strange one. Like, we attacked more against Man City. Yes, we didn't have the luck of the sort of bounce. Tony was getting man marked. I think Saliba and Gabriel marked him very, very well in the game, but we just couldn't get that sort of little flick on. Whenever it sort of popped back into Jensen, his then outlet ball just wasn't finding feet. So it was more frustrating because we think, right, we're out of that little sticky patch. We've defended well. Now we can.
Yeah.
Oh no, right, we've lost the ball again. Now we've got to sit in. So it was more frustrating that we couldn't give our backline a rest. But on the flip side, you can look at it and think, well, how well did our defenders do? Just constantly battling wave after wave. So that was sort of my take on it. Were you disappointed that we didn't really get a spell, especially in the first half? Or do you think it was just because Arsenal were just too good in that first half?
No, I wasn't disappointed in the fact that, because I think we all saw it coming. We said in the preview that I alluded to, I thought it was going to be 5 or 6, but I think it was the obviously, like, we have injuries at the moment, and maybe we don't have the sort of players, right? Like if we had an Embuemo up there, if we had a Shade up there, right? We don't have these sort of players that we can play out neat football. But it was just frustrating to see because it was like, well, I know he got his goal in the end, and we'll move on to that in a little bit, but it was like we win the ball back, and like you alluded to, the ball going long again. right? Whether Tony misses the flick on or wins the flick on, it's the second ball. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's like when you play, like, no disrespect to like the teams at the bottom, well, including us, but when you play the lesser teams, you can get away with that a few times. You know what I mean? It might bump, but against a team like Arsenal, who are just so well drilled, yeah, and who haven't lost a game, like this is their 6th Premier League win in a row. Like, you're just not going to get that against them. And I think that's the most disappointing thing for me, the fact that we didn't. Obviously, we don't know what Thomas has said to him, but we didn't have a chance where we could start to play the ball on the floor. And when we did, we had a few chances. I think Lewis Potter put one in the box, and it was a good little play. And then Jan out with a little dummy. But yeah, it was kind of disappointing. But then again, we're away at the Emirates, isn't it? Like, what can you really expect? Let's talk about the one benefit come out of this game. Yoane Wissa, right? And I want to start by saying Aaron Ramsdale, right? Let's talk about Ramsdale quickly. We knew the game plan was going to be stick it on him early because he's going to be shaky, right? He then has an absolute stinker, right? And you know what's even worse? He turns his shoulder and he looks and he can see Wissa coming, right? And then at the end of the game, he has the audacity to cup his ears to the away end. Brother, if we didn't sell you Raya, then you wouldn't even be playing, boy. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just thought after such a howler, obviously we'll get onto his second half performance, which completely contradicts what I'm saying now, but even Arsenal fans on Twitter and on Instagram and on TikTok, they're all saying, Ramsdale, you're finished, bro. But do you think it's more of it's clever from Wissa or it's lazy from obviously as a goalkeeper coach? Obviously, if that was your goalkeeper, you'd be effing and blinding at him screaming. But do you think it was more of a clever from Wissa or a bit of a howler for Ramsdale?
What hat do you want me to put on? Do you want me to put on the goalie coach hat or the Brentford fan hat?
No, just give us both sides of it, man. Give us
all right. Keep hats on. Keep hats on. I think it's lazy from Ramsdale. He sees Wissa come in. I don't know why he thinks Wissa's got the pace of like a 12-year-old. He needs to play. Put it into was it Gabriel on the right hand side?
Or right back was Ben White. Right centre half.
Either see it out, go for the long ball, or just play it out nice and quick. You don't need to dilly dally on the ball. Poor, very poor from him. Like he sees him coming. I don't know what he's doing. Wissa's licking his lips. But to take my goalkeeper hat off, put on the Brentford one. Serves him right, a little cocky twat. Do you know what I mean? I actually can't stand. Like, if he was playing for Brentford, I would love him. He's sort of like Neil Mapai character. But yeah, fucking idiot, man. And then he's cupping his ears.
Mate, you know what really annoys me, right? And I'm sure you're going to agree as well, right? But mate, obviously, I know we're going to get comments. Haha, you're rattled. I'm literally not that rattled. But Arsenal fans, yeah, treat Ramsdale, yeah, like he's a special kid in class. You know what I mean? They treat him, obviously when they played at the GTEC, yeah, they were treating him, right, like he'd just been through World War and come back, yeah, and now they're molly. And I know. Once again, before people get onto us, I know we played the Undertaker music when Ivan Toney came back after putting on a few Bet365 slips, right? I know that, yeah. But mate, the reception he's getting is like it's like he's risen from the dead, honestly. And I think
at least we can play that music for Ivan Toney. Look what he's done when he's come on. Ramsdale, look what he's done when he's stepped on the Emirates grass again. Fucking idiot. Like, touch of a trampoline anyway. And then the fact he's looking around, like what? Like, and then like 60 guys when the halftime whistle blows go running over to him to give him a little hug. Like, it's all right, mate. Yeah. It's only the title race that you've just nearly bottled for us. Do you know what I mean? David Raya is buzzing about that, by the way. He is absolutely buzzing that Ramsdale's fucked it. But yeah, and then going back to like him putting cupping his hands to his ear, mate, you're about to cry. Then like if we scored again, you would have been in tears, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, putting back the sort of professional hat on, good wind-up play from him. Again, I would love him at Brentford not to play, just to wind up players. Do you know what I mean? Just stand in front of the away end, mate, and just give it large. Do you know what I mean? So I have to respect it, and he did perform well in the second half. But yeah, another one. No, go on.
Do you think? Obviously, this is kind of moving on from Brentford a little bit, but obviously next week is an international break, right? Or the week after, I'm not too sure. Do you think this has jeopardised Ramsdale's shot? Obviously, we know anyway. We're not stupid. We know Pickford's going to be England's number one. We already know that. But do you think now Southgate's looking at that thinking, do you think it's going to jeopardise his chances of even getting on the plane?
100%, mate. He shouldn't be anywhere near that plane. Anywhere near that plane. Just send him to Terminal 1. Don't send him to Terminal 5. Do you know what I mean? He can get on a plane to Timbuktu.
Yeah.
Play for England. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, obviously he will get on that plane. There's no doubt about that. But someone like Nick Pope should get in ahead of Ramsdale anyway.
Yeah, but then it's a question of I don't know. Obviously, we'll do during the international break. We'll do a podcast on England, right? Just to really give our say. But yeah, going into half time, optimistic 1-1, or
I was buzzing, to be fair. I was like, what's just happened here? Like, someone's just knocked on the door and give me the winning lottery ticket. Do you know what I mean? Like, you scored a goal out of nowhere. But in my head, I just knew we were going to concede that second half. I was a little bit apprehensive to be like, are we going to try and create something? Second half kicked off and we were already 11 men behind the ball. So yeah, it was one of them games that I was expecting it. I was just more disappointed that Brentford didn't change my mind, if that makes sense. They didn't surprise me. But yeah, half time, I was buzzing. What about you? Were you sitting there smiling, 1-1 back in the game? Can we hang on to a point?
Mate, I'm shameless, mate. I was in the group chat with the boys saying, bloody hell, we're going to win 4-1, mate. You know what I mean? I'm shameless. That's just how it is, though, isn't it? That's just how it is. But we're going to be, I'll be honest, at half time, it's 1-1, but when you're playing against a team with this much quality, you know that all it takes is a few seconds and they could kill you dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, fortunately, right, well, I was quite optimistic. I thought, if we do the same sort of thing in the second half, and like I alluded to, right, if we keep playing the wind-up game, then you never know what's going to happen. But let's go back into the first half quickly, and let's talk about injuries. Obviously, Reguilon missed out the starting lineup because he had a minor. Thomas described it as a minor hamstring injury, and then I don't know what happened, but Norgard went off injured as well. That's two players that start for us that are gone. Do you think it's more worrying times for Brett? We had a B team player on the bench today. So do you think this is more worrying times for us? And obviously we're just sitting there begging to get these to get Hickey back, to get Rico back, to get Mbeumo back, Shade back. Do you think now we really need these players to start coming back in?
Yes, it's just like a waiting game, and unfortunately, in the Prem, you don't really have that time or that luxury to wait. Yeah, it's just so frustrating. You think, right, Mbeumo's coming back, he's back in training. Shade should be back sort of soon. Norgard's just come off. Reguilon's just had a hamstring injury. So it's almost like a little trade-off. Take with one hand, give with the other. With Brentford at that moment. Look, I think, to be fair, I think the effect Jensen had on the game was positive. Norgard, I felt, was crucial to start that game. I think we obviously had that debate in the match preview. He sort of solidified our back line, made sure we didn't concede early. Jensen came in, gave us that little bit of flair, link-up play a little bit with Tony and Wissa. But yeah, it's just annoying. I'm just praying that he's not out for too long. Having said that, do you think that almost forces Thomas's hand a little bit more to go more attackive, depending on how long obviously Norgard's out, but seeing how well we did perform at the end of that first half with Jensen, a more sort of attacking midfielder, do you think that's something to take away from today's games? Be a bit more ambitious in the midfield.
Yeah, well, completely. Like, obviously, Burnley's our next game in a week on Saturday. So we're going to have to, we have no option but to go more attacking. And I feel like the biggest thing for me is I feel like we should be smarter with it, right? And it's like, obviously, this game will let him off because it was Arsenal, right? But play a four at the back, so you have that reserve option. Put Zanka on the bench, right? Even if it's Ayer on the bench, right? Even if it's Collins on the bench, I literally don't care, right? But have that centre back option to bring on, and then if you need that centre back, because otherwise they were saying today on commentary that when Zanka went down, they were like Brentford are going to have real trouble here because
Yeah,
we didn't have another centre, and then it would have to be a major shift around. Like Janelt would have to go to centre half, and then and it just becomes destructive. So yeah, I think the way forward is being more attacking, right? Obviously, Turf Moor Burnley, we're going to need the 3 points, right? And if we lose
yeah.
that, honestly, mate, it's fucking hell. We will just get us gone, right? But yeah, I think we need to just be a bit smarter about it. And obviously, I trust Thomas, right? And I know that Thomas is going to do the right thing. And he'll have a plan. He won't go. Thomas is not the type of manager to go into a game and just say, fuck it, we'll wing it. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think be a bit smarter with it and give. Obviously, we'll talk about substitutes a bit later, right? But do you not think that bringing players on for 10 minutes, because obviously Thomas waited very late to bring his subs on this game, yeah? Do you not think it's a bit disheartening for someone like Mupai and someone like Yarmolik? Like you bring them on with 15 minutes to go, it's going to take them 10 minutes to warm up, right? And then they've only got 5 minutes to implement themselves on the game. Do you not think that like Thomas needs to be more urgent with his substitutions?
To be fair, I don't know how you felt, but I felt if he changed something, we would capitulate a little bit. I don't know. I think because we were holding on so well defensively, we were shutting out Arsenal. I would have been too scared to change it myself. Ironically, when Mupai did come on, he had that little 1v1 sort of chance with Aaron Ramsdale. I reckon Wissa would have got there, you know. Obviously, he was offside, Mupai. I reckon if Wissa stayed on side, timed his run well, what do you think? Do you think Wissa would have got that? Or do you think Mupai was just unlucky?
No,
That the ball
potentially.
went away from him?
Potentially. Like, I see why he did the sub, but I don't agree with the timing of it. I think this probably contradicts what you're saying, but I think they should have been brought up earlier. Onyeka was on a yellow. Wissa got a stupid yellow. Not stupid. Slow down the play. Right, so they're both on yellow cards. You know what Onyeka's like? He's like Bambi on ice, mate. Like sometimes he doesn't even know where he's going. So I feel like there was always that risk there that there'll be a red card.
I do get the Onyeka one. I'm just talking about the Mupai Wissa one. But Wissa sort of was flagging, although he was the only one really pressing, obviously Ramsdale pressing the back line. So you do get that sort of little trade off. If you do take Wissa off, you're not going to get that as much from Mupai. But Mupai had to get on at some point, so hence why I'm guessing it was that late.
But then it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's like what we're saying again. It's like two-sided coin. Like, is it worth pressing a team like Arsenal? Is it worth it? Like, obviously, saying that in hindsight, Wissa scored. Yeah, fair. But I think that was more down. It was good from him to not stop, but then it was more of a Ramsdale error, right? But I'm saying it's that time in the game. I honestly believe, mate, and I've got no problem with this at all, right? That I think Thomas looked at the game and was like, we have to sit in now. We have to try and grab this game by the balls and sit in. But I think we did all right in the second half. Obviously, the chances were flooding down our end. Like they had about 5 penalty shouts, which, if I'm being completely honest with you, right, they should hang their heads in shame for even claiming for a penalty,
100%.
right? Because
100%.
Havertz kicked the ball to the corner flag and then went over.
And then flopped over like a little fish out of water. Do you know what I mean?
Honestly, you know what? If this was diving, I'd hold up the 10 out of 10 because that was unbelievable. Like, you've got the wrong sports son, right? And then you've got Trossard went down in the box because Wissa pushed him, mate. He barely touched him. It wasn't even a pull. It was more of a tap on the shoulder.
And also, Saliba, there was one corner. He just grabbed Lewis Potter in like a little headlock, flung him on the floor. Ref didn't have a Scooby what was going on, and I just think Arsenal tried to play that sort of dirty game. We had I can't remember who was on the floor. Flecken kicked it out for a throw in, and Arsenal didn't give it back. They just carried on with the ball. So I just think Arsenal played like that. Yes, they're obviously fighting for something, but as the Brent fans chanted today, same old Arsenal, always cheating.
Yeah, and also, like, this is gonna get clipped, mate. Also, it's all good. Who came third in the 2-horse race, isn't it? Classic Arsenal, man.
Pulling that one back, Jay. Yeah. Roll back the years.
Yeah, who came third in the 2-horse race? It has to be them. But obviously, let's go on to the second half. We had let's talk about the Collins chance actually. Right, ball into the box. I think it was by Aya, right, and then Collins gets on it, and Ramsdale makes as much as we slagged him off earlier. He makes an unbelievable save. Yes, I reckon if it was to the left or the right, more to the left in the far corner, maybe it would have gone in, right? But it's moments like this, isn't it? Do you think that if it was any other day, any other keeper, maybe that would have gone in? It just happens to be the situation, isn't it?
I think Ramsdale milked that save straight down the middle. He touched it, then did about 10 roly-polies afterwards. But yeah, I think it was so annoying because I saw Aya look up, he dinked it, and then I just saw Collins in like acres of space. I'm like, just fucking like bullet header it, and he's just like tapped it towards like Ramsdale. But that, and then obviously the Ivan Toney chance. How many times we're going to see him try and score from the halfway line?
Unbelievable, mate. Honestly, I kid you not, yeah. The ball was struck, yeah, and I was acting like I was in the stadium. Go on! I was thinking, oh, mate, unbelievable. Tell me your heart sunk. Your heart was like, oh, that would have been so good.
Oh, how many times has he tried that, though, since he's been at Brentford? And again, if that went in, Ramsdale's head was gone. I reckon Arteta would have put Jesus in goal if that goal went in. But yeah, I think that was the sort of kickstart for Arsenal, seeing Ramsdale like sort of recover himself, make that save early on in the second half. But I was so gutted, so gutted. I was almost praying it wasn't going to be on target from Ivan to make me feel a bit better. But yeah, 2 big chances.
Yeah, it was a great try. And we need to start a tally or something, right? We need to start who tries it more. Toney score from the halfway line, or Wissa to score a bicycle kick. Obviously, Wissa got his bicy last week, so hopefully that means Toney's halfway line goals coming. But yeah, I think we had a few chances. Even my mate's a Liverpool fan, and he said, "You've got the chances, you've just got nobody to put them in the back of the net." And I was like, this is the problem we've got at the moment. And let's go back to the sort of striker situation. That's kind of a big topic in the match preview beforehand. Do you think that not having that sort of, I'm going to use the word competent, but there's probably better words out there, second striker, because like we alluded to in the first half, the amount of times that Toney's won the flick on or brought the ball down, if that's Mbeumo running through, the Arsenal players, right, and I genuinely think this plays a factor, the Arsenal players step back a bit and think, all right, he's going to trouble me. Mate, I genuinely think they look at Wissa and they laugh. I think they look at our front line, apart from Toney, and they laugh, because they think, Saliba, right, Saliba's one of the best centre-backs in the league, right, so's Gabriel. Right, and if Toney's got one of them, and then Wissa's running over the shoulder, Saliba knows he's got him in his back pocket. So do you think that? Obviously, we talked about it in the first half, but let's talk about it in the second half as well. Do you think it's time for Brentford to start mixing up their game a bit? Go long once, then maybe hit the channels with another one. Try and get the wing backs overlapping. Do you think it's time for us now to really experiment and really try a few different ways? Because I feel like it's such a Brentford thing. We don't have a plan B. It's either plan A, right, and then or if that plan A doesn't work, it's plan A, and then if that plan A doesn't work, then we go back to plan A. Do you know what I mean? So do you think it's time? Do you think it's time to start mixing these things up a bit?
It is now. I don't think they should be mixing up at the Emirates, Arsenal, where you don't mess about with different sort of tactics, otherwise you will get punished. I think that was our only way out. That long ball, that outlet into Ivan Toney. Yes, could we have kept the ball a bit better, get in and around him a bit more, rather than just one striker backing him up? Why couldn't Lewis Potter then come in, or Rosnev come in on either side to almost have two people around the ball? But yeah, I do hear you. Arsenal's back line, if it was Shade or Mbeumo with a bit of pace, if that ball sort of went in behind, they would have backed off sort of 3 or 4 yards. So again, it's just that waiting game. You just got to wait till Shade and Mbeumo are back, and then that's when you'll see Wissa a bit more effective. Then you'll see our wing backs overlapping. So it's just one of them sort of frustrating moments. We've got Ivan Toney there, green tick. Now we just need to wait for everyone else to sort of come in and around him. That's when then we can sort of mix it up like we did at sort of last season, where we can play short, play out from the back. Then we can go long if we need to, just to allow the defence to sort of relax a little bit. But at the moment, we just have that one long ball, which is more frustrating than anything, because we all know as Brentford fans we can play much better football than that. But in the meantime, again, we are that sort of wounded wolf. We just sort of have to grit in a little bit until we get those players back.
Do you reckon, obviously this is just posing a question to you, do you think it's a matter of fact the teams are starting to suss us out now? This long ball has been the story of our season at the moment, right? And Arsenal, they're going to do their homework and they're going to see the long ball coming in, right? And they will practice that all week. And obviously, I know it's kind of similar to what we have literally just spoken about, but I'm a bit disappointed that we don't run at the fullbacks a bit more. I know we might not get the chance to, yeah, but let's be honest. All right, Ben White on the right-hand side, right? Say what you want about Ben White. I think he's been unbelievable this season. But you've got Kiwior on the other side, right? And I know it's unfortunate that it happens to be Roslev running it in, but unpopular opinion, I think Roslev had a good game today. I didn't think he was bad at all. But do you not just think, like, Arsenal have set up all week in training, they will practice the long ball coming over, bringing the ball down, back, and then gone, right? So do you not, like, are you not, is there not even a point about a part of you that's disappointed, thinking, fuck, like, why didn't we hit the channels? Why don't we give it a go?
I'd love to obviously see that. I think that's when Brentford play our best football, because teams don't know whether or not to go on Mark Toney or then prepare for us to play out and into the channels. We just can't do it. Like, if I look at Roslev, I've never seen that man beat a player like 1v1 down a channel. Lewis Potter against Ben White, I can't see him beating him. So I just think, again, this game didn't allow for that, and I wouldn't want us to almost waste possession trying to force our way almost into a brick wall down the channel. So that's why it was sort of our only option going long. Yes, obviously it's frustrating. Yes, Arsenal have obviously prepped for that, but we could say the same. We've prepped for them going into the wide channels and those sort of little dinky balls in. So it sort of goes both ways. We scored, they scored. Just unfortunate at the moment. We are just missing our players. Keep rambling on about it, but we are just missing our players.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess it's one of them ones where, like, we're missing players, but at the end of the day, we just got to firm it. You know what I mean? Like, we can't, like, we're not going to get an extra 6 points for saying that we're missing fucking 10 players. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, let's talk about the Arsenal winner. Havertz, header. Right, 2 questions. Same with the first goal. Should Flecken have saved it? Second question. Could you see it coming, or were you convinced that we'd fight out to the end and we'd stop this party in North London?
I was gutted when Flecken got a hand to it. I almost just pushed it just underneath the crossbar. I can't blame him for that goal. His momentum was moving towards the right hand side. A ball's come into his left. He's just trying to stick a hand out, and he's nearly got it, to be fair to him. Yes, I could see it coming. Unless the referee blew his full-time whistle, I wasn't going to celebrate a draw. I could see it coming more in the 90th minute, in that stoppage time. I didn't think it was going to come before that. But typical Kai Havertz, a header again, like he did at the G-Tech, beating Flecken. But yeah, I was more sort of devastated and gutted that we conceded like that. You know, I think I would have been more not satisfied. That's the wrong word because I don't want to see Brentford concede. But if the Declan Rice shot where he hit sort of the crossbar of the post, if that one went in, I would have gone okay, fair enough. But yeah, especially Kai Havertz as well. Like at least Jesus could have scored. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you think? Let's talk a bit about Arsenal now. We haven't really talked much about Arsenal apart from really Ramsdale.
Good.
Do you think Arsenal are in the? Obviously, they're in the title race, yeah, and they are like, if people are expecting Liverpool or City to win the league because they've been there before, they've done it. What percentage are you giving Arsenal to win the league? And do you think that them going quietly about their business is actually better than them being ahead in the league and having people chase them?
I'll give them about 20% chance of winning the league.
That's quite high. That is quite high, you know. That's quite high. If you think about it, if I did it my way, I'd give Liverpool on top of the league at the moment, and this could all change based on the result tomorrow, right? Liverpool, I give them 35, right?
Here comes the maths.
Man City, I'll give them 30, and then Arsenal. Actually, that means that you're about right.
The maths, mate.
Yeah, it means you're about right, mate. No, let's redo that. Right, let's have a conversation about this now. Right, Liverpool top of the league, right? We'll give them about 60%. We'll give Liverpool 60, right? That's too high. We'll give Liverpool 50, right? We'll give Man City 40. And we'll give Arsenal 10. And I know before you Arsenal fans start getting on to me saying, oh, well, we're top of the league at the moment. It depends what happens. I don't want to hear it, right? These percentages I'm giving you, yeah, are based on two things, right? The fact that Man City and Liverpool have been there before, yeah, right? Both these squads, the core of these squads have won the Premier League. Arsenal have never won the Premier League before. They've come close, but they've never won the Premier League before. And I've seen on numerous occasions when the pressure gets a bit too hot, Arsenal take their hand off it. And I think the experience of Liverpool and Man City and the players they've got, don't get me wrong, Arsenal are great players, but the players they've got are a lot better than Arsenal. So let's move on to percentages and is going quietly about their business a major positive for Arteta?
Look, you can be, or you can go quiet about your business, but it does feel like Man City and Liverpool have just given Arsenal a little +1 to, oh look, come along, have another feel of what it's like to be in the title race. Yeah, I can't see Arsenal winning the Premier League. Yes, they play the best football out of them two at the moment. But even with a strong Arsenal side out, I'd back Liverpool, I'd back Man City any day against them. And Arsenal do have to play those teams. So, yeah, that's why 20% because it could happen. But I'm not going to go any higher than that.
That's right. I think that's fair. I think that's justified as well. Before we move on to the women's game coming up tomorrow, let's talk about the core of the team, right? One worry I've got, right, and if you disagree with me, please tell me, right? I don't think we've got the players to dig in. I don't think we've got the heart at the moment to go out there and leave everything on the pitch. When times get tough, real men eat, yeah? Right, and I don't
Where'd you get that one from?
I don't think that we've got enough characters and hard workers in that team. The hard workers, I think a lot of players are hard workers, but I don't think we've got players that have got like that bit of grit about them.
I know what you mean. I think we are playing that cup side team. I think if you look at us last season, we put out a side like this in round 1, round 2, like the Carabao Cup, for example, where good enough still to compete, but just not that extra 5% to, as you said, dig in, win that extra header, keep the ball for a little bit longer. So again, it's just more frustrating because we aren't normally like that. Injuries have hampered us at the moment, and obviously personnel in the team. We're not quite there yet, which is obviously why teams like Arsenal, who are firing on sort of all cylinders, they will get those sort of any sort of 50-50 duel. They will potentially win, and as we've sort of seen in the last sort of 5 minutes or so, they will get that unfortunate break, which leads to a goal.
Yeah. One more thing before we move on to the women's game. Let's look at the league table quickly, right? We're sitting 15th at the moment on 26 points, right? Everton are below us on 25. Forest are below them on 24, right? And Luton are below them on 21. Luton have a game in hand against Bournemouth. Forest have got a game in hand. And obviously, this is all hypothetical, but if both teams win their games, right, Luton are 2 points behind us, yeah, and we drop to 16th in the table. I think they said on Sky Sports that this is the fourth out of 14 games. This is the 11th game we've lost in a stretch of 14. Is this a problem? Should we now? Obviously, we joke about how we could go down. I don't think I've never really believed it, but now are we starting to look over our shoulder, thinking, "Shit, these fuckers are coming for us."
Yeah, typical fucking Corley Woodrow as well. Our championship nemesis scored, didn't he? Today, last minute. Yeah, we're looking over our shoulder a bit more. Do I think we're going to get relegated? I'll answer that question after the Burnley game. If we lose there, I will have a different answer to what I've got in my head right now. But yeah, I don't think we will. It just depends. Obviously, we've got like Sheffield United, for example, to play as well at home. We've got Bournemouth, Fulham, winnable games.
And Luton. We've got Luton away as
and
well.
Luton away, yeah, exactly. So I think we've got it almost in our hands. Obviously, hopefully, Mbeumo, Shade come back for those games. We'll have a bit more of an attacking threat. So I will answer that question in the next few games. What about you? Do you think we are in trouble?
Potentially. It looks like at the moment Luton are nicking points left, right, centre. Obviously, they were unlucky against Villa the other week to not get a point out of the game. They got a point out today against Palace, which is a good point, seeing as where it's a game that they should have got something out of. So yeah, I think it's worrying times. Obviously, there's allusions to whether Forest and Everton are going to get another points deduction, but I don't think we can bank on that yet until I see the minus whatever is on the table. So yeah, could be a problem, but like you said, we'll see after the Burnley game and then we'll have a talk. But all right, let's move on to the women's section now. Let's move on to the last section of today's podcast. This will be going out tomorrow. So no, it won't. It'll be going out tonight. But so tomorrow at Bedfont Sports, Brentford women are taking on Whiteleaf at 3 p.m. I think 3 p.m. kickoff.
Yeah.
Do you want to just give us? Obviously, you gave us one in the preview. Do you want to give us a little bit of a lowdown on the game?
Yeah, again, it's a sort of warm up show for the final in the Trophy Cup against Whiteleaf. We got them in the final there, beat them at their place this season. So we should win. We're at the sort of fortress of Bedford Sports. And if you did come down, we've also got the B team playing on the pitch next to us. So you've got two for the price of one. And I say the price of one, it's free. So please come down if you want to watch a Brentford team actually control the game, score a few goals. Come down to watch a women's team game. But yeah, it should be a good game. Chasing obviously Benfica at the top of the league, and that's our little title race, chasing them down, which should be a fun challenge for us.
Yeah, exactly. Happy days. Well, unfortunately, that is all we've got time for today. This has been the Arsenal away match reaction. We did come out losing 2-1. Declan Rice scoring, us equalising with Yoane Wissa, and then who else but Kai Havertz scoring a winner in the 86th minute. Cameron, how have you found this one, mate?
Deflating.
Yeah, I feel the same, mate. I feel the same. Burnley away next Saturday. Match preview will be out on the Friday. Match reaction will be out on a Saturday evening, maybe Sunday. We'll see. So yeah, make sure to follow all our social medias. They're at the bottom throughout the whole video. Make sure if you're listening to us on Spotify, go watch us on YouTube. And if you're watching us on YouTube, go listen to us on Spotify. Thank you for watching, and we will see you on Friday. Bye.